Alright guys, this is me. I tried to look up a bunch of reviews on the new TQi radio. They don't really exist, and so other than hardcore RC guys, and even then they just kind of go through the app, so I'm just going to kind of try to go through it myself here. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that right now they're not for sale. And I'm perfectly fine with that because it gives me a chance to get it cheap used out of somebody's car instead of off of eBay for full price. So I actually bought it because I personally like the Traxxas radios. And the Traxxas 2.4 has always treated me well. I've used better radios and worse radios, and people may complain about Traxxas, but honestly, I pretty much like those radios. Now, that's because I am more of a real-time racer, and this is me. So, my review will be on this radio. I tried to look up a review on eBay or on YouTube. Couldn't really find anything other than some guys going through the app, but it really didn't show you much. I happened to get this at my local hobby store for 80 bucks for the radio and receiver. People complain that you can only use Apple products with it. If you have an Android, you can suck it, because I really don't care. I pretty much only care about me. And I happen to have an iPhone. And iPod Touches are super cheap. So if you're really that concerned about getting the most out of this radio, go out and get that for cheap, or buy something a hell of a lot more expensive. I'm super duper cheap, and you're going to see with some of this other stuff. So here's my Traxxas Slash. And by cheap, you'll notice that the one problem that the speed controls have is that this is a terrible video. The one problem that these speed controls have is that that button gets stuck down because of the waterproofing. And because mine was past warranty, and because I'm too cheap to go out and buy a new one, I dug a hole in it. And guess what? It still works. And I still race it every week. And usually win at least place. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the new TQ one. And unlike the people who just kind of go through the review and just say, yeah, this is awesome or this isn't, I'm going to show you why, as a regular RC car racer, this is an awesome radio. One of the awesome things is it also works with the other 2.4 link receivers. And what that means now is that my other Traxxas radio, I don't have to use that radio, and I can use this one. Technically, it does the same stuff, but for you to not have to do the programming like a retard with these buttons, you can do it all with your iPhone. So I am going to show you what that is like. From the beginning, unlock my phone, open the app. I'm going to plug it in. The only thing is, I think they sell spacers for this. Mine didn't come with a spacer. It'll hold it in there nicely, but the little cover, I just go ahead and toss that cover underneath it, push it down, lock it in place. Now that's the screen for all your telemetry information. I found out that for you to have any of that telemetry information, you need to have sending units or a different motor. So Traxxas is making an added box that you can put on here so that you can see the telemetry and everything. I really don't care. You can put in a different pinion gear with a sensor on there. My main concern was actually being able to program a radio easy. Most of the radios, I'm not so far into RC that I can tell you what, XO1 and trying to change different profiles and everything. I am not that talented. So the nice thing is once you plug it in, it's actually going to tell you if it's on or off. I'm going to turn it on. Radio is going to come on. Now it's going to tell me the battery life of the radio. And at this point is where you can choose your different models. I happen to have a Slash 4x4, not technically an Ultimate because I am way too cheap for that. I upgraded most of my parts so it's pretty close to an Ultimate, but not quite an ultimate. You can have a bunch of vehicles in your history so that you can have different cars set up. The one really, really nice thing that I like is that it has profiles. You can have profiles. I haven't set any up. These are the two. I'm going to actually race with this tomorrow. You can set up profiles for different tracks. I happen to race at a really tiny track here, really close to me in town. And then about 30 miles away, there's a really huge track, completely different types of dirt. It's going to be able to be great to be able to set it for that, and then for bashing. So you click to back to home, and it also has your drive effects. This is where you can actually change your steering percentage, your braking percentage, and your throttle trim, your throttle sensitivity, and steering sensitivity. I actually messed around with this. I can plug my car in so we can see. I've always had problems trying to really hone in my endpoints. Well, because you can set this and change it, you can see the changes right there immediately. And it works great. Now I have to use my little ghetto rigged thing to turn on my car. And my car is now on. And before, my steering was set so that the servo was being maxed out, or whatever you want to say, and it was in here where I can change. Actually, not in here, it was in the garage where you can change your channel setup. And I can come into steering, and in steering, this is where I was able to change the endpoints perfectly for this car. There was no like question as to what I actually needed to do. There was no question of, oh, did I get that straight? No trying to press buttons, no trying to turn stupid ass dials. And you can easily reverse your servos. The old school Traxxas remote, you had to press buttons to try to reverse those servos. And that was super duper retarded. I know most of you guys are wanting to see me talk about this instead of just look at the radio, but too bad. I am gorgeous. We all know that. The other nice thing is that you can set up your brake. Instead of having certain, like 10%, 20%, 30%, you can actually set it up exactly how you want it, down to each 0.2, 0.5, 0.7 of a percent. It makes it really convenient when you're trying to. The one problem I had with the 4x4 slap is when you go and you hit those brakes are on. However, I can change that down by just swiping it down. Now I have an older iPhone 3, so it's a little ghetto. I can change that to 50% so that now when I hit the brake, it doesn't like immediately slam on the brakes like it used to. This is going to be awesome at the track because it was something I never set up with my other radios, and I'm too cheap to sit there and spend $300-400 on a radio. Or I just heard of a guy spending $3,000 on a radio. You're a nut. But if you got that kind of money, why not go ahead and spend it? You can set up your different channels. It does come with a 5-channel receiver, which is very nice. Then it has the telemetry setup. That's basically, you can set up where you have those sensors coming into your receiver. I don't have any of them now. Probably won't get any of them. But it is something just to think of. Now, because I know you wanted to see me, and you will now. So the other nice thing is having different cars, and once everything is actually all set up, the nice thing is it saves onto this remote, and then all you have to do is take the remote off, and this radio remembers it. So you don't have to keep your iPhone on the radio the entire time. They don't make that clear, or at least they didn't make it clear enough for me to understand that. And maybe it's coming because I'm a dum-dum, but either way, I like it. It's an awesome radio. It actually feels pretty good. Even with the phone on it, it actually doesn't feel... It feels almost the exact same weight as the regular 2.4 radio. The other nice thing about scaring the crap out of myself